Next to Yi Ziyun sat a tall and handsome boy who was, occasionally, catching a glimpse of Yi Ziyun. He noticed that Yi Ziyun was looking at Nieli. He threw a furious look towards Nieli. His height were slightly taller than Nieli, and began emitting a fainting aura. Naturally, Nieli recognized this person. He's Xinyu. He belongs to the sacred family, which is one of the three major families and has extraordinary talent. Xinxiu, who's currently talking on the stage, is his aunt. 3. Their families, they had always been a perfect match. If Glory City wasn't destroyed, both of them would have definitely gotten married. Before they underwent the marriage ceremony, Glory City was under the attack of the snow wind beasts. Before the city was broken through by the beasts, the sacred family betrayed Glory City by abandoning their duties and fled. This may be the work of fate. Yi Ziyun did not become Xinyu's wife in his previous life. Instead, she had some kinship activities with Nieli 5. Thinking back, Nieli couldn't help laughing in his heart. However, after he saw Yi Ziyun and Xinyu's glares, Nieli couldn't help feeling a headache forming. The current Yi Ziyun had a few good impressions of Xinyu. The look that Yi Ziyun gave to Nieli was full of disdain. Yi Ziyun must have thought of him as a lazy, playful person. When he saw Yi Ziyun look in his direction, Nieli felt a lag in his breath. When he saw that familiar face, he began to think of everything that happened in his previous life. Nieli couldn't help feeling sour in his nose. He revealed a smile as he looked deeply at Yi Ziyun. Many thanks to the Temporal Demon Spirit Book. It allowed us to meet once again. Nieli silently thought with gratitude. Weirdo, Yi Ziyun thought. She felt that Nieli's gaze was somewhat strange. His bright eyes shined like stars, with a touch of sadness. Yi Ziyun's heart was filled with questions. Does she know Nieli? Why does he look at her with that kind of gaze? Yi Ziyun's a beauty with white teeth and vermilion lips. She was like a lotus, blooming silently, while having an unspeakable cute temperament. This was why there are so many boys fascinated with her. At this point, Xinxiu's gaze swept past Nieli's body. The action of these 13-14-year-old kids couldn't escape her eyes. She is a silver rank demon spiritualist. She already reached the state of having the mind and body being one powerful sixth sense. Her eyesight was extremely keen. She could even see a fleeing rat over 100 meters away. 5. Yi Ziyun has a noble identity. She has the status of being the daughter of Glory City Lord, as well as being the granddaughter of the legend-ranked demon spiritualist, Yi Mo. Not only that, she has a Cyan soul realm formed within her. Dantian. A rare talent. Only a few people in the Holy Orchid Institute know of Yi Ziyun's identity. If Xinyu manages to have Yi Ziyun as his wife, it could strongly strengthen the sacred family's position in Glory City. This is also why he's in the fighter apprentice class. It's also another reason why Xinxiu is teaching this class. Are my students. Although the principal mentioned that Holy Orchid Institute's students are equal, I have to let you know the ugly truth. In this world, equality doesn't exist. Xinxiu spoke in a slightly shrill voice. Her words were like daggers that heavily stabbed into the hearts of the students. 4. The students below the stage were quietly listening. No one spoke a word. After you have all grown up and left this school, you will agree with my words. Equality is merely a lie that adults fill you with. You can't be living in a fairy tale forever, Shinshio said, lowering her head to look at the students. Glory City is the only city that has been preserved throughout the Age of Darkness. We are the only surviving humans. Within Glory City, there are two kinds of powerful existences, the fighters and the demon spiritualists. A demon spiritualist's existence is noble. Only one fighter within thousands or tens of thousands could have a chance of being born a powerful demon spiritualist. Until now, in all of Glory City, only a few thousand demon spiritualists exist. We are the guardians of Glory City. 4. Fighters and demon spiritualists are divided into bronze, silver, gold, black, gold and legend ranks. The higher the rank, the more powerful one is. If a family produces a gold rank demon spiritualist, they can become an aristocratic family. If a family produced a black gold rank demon spiritualist, they can become a noble family. If a family produces 3 black gold rank demon spiritualists or a legend rank demon spiritualist, that family can become a major family. We have 36 people here. Some come from commoner families, some come from noble families. Although your starting point is the same, your identities are not. I hope each and every one of you has self-awareness and a degree of manners. Commoners will always remain commoners. It's impossible for you to become an aristocratic family, so do not dream of rising up to become a phoenix. Even within nobility, they have a strict difference of levels that can never be exceeded. 3. Under Shinshio's gaze, the students that were simply dressed in the class showed discomfort on their faces. They were embarrassed and lowered their heads. Shinshio and a few nobles proudly pushed up their chests and showed arrogant pride. Only Niali, Yiziyun, Lu Piao and a few other nobles kept calm. Niali looked to the side. Duze was wearing slightly worn-out clothing. He was clenching his fists tightly and biting his lips. Duze came from a commoner family. His family circumstance is extremely tough. But Niali knows that Duze's self-esteem is very strong. Effort, he became a gold-rank demon spiritualist. He had achieved this without the support of large resources and no exceptional talent. He depended on his own hard work to reach such a level. One can only imagine how much effort he had to put in. 1. Before Glory City was destroyed, many noble families were thinking of how to escape. Only the commoners fought for Glory City down to their last breath. Duze is Niali's friend, one of his most esteemed friends. Seeing Shinshio's face full of contempt, Niali could not help feeling a surge of anger within his heart. In his past life, before Glory City was broken through, the sacred family was the first to flee. Therefore, Niali does not have any pleasant impressions for them. Whether it's Xinyu or Shinshio, there weren't any redeeming qualities. In his past life, Shinshio was very harsh, which led to Niali disliking her. Teacher Shinshio, I have a question, Niali suddenly spoke. 3. All the students were listening quietly and Niali suddenly interrupted her speech. This made Shinshio unhappy. Shinshio recognized Niali since he was the one who had covet over Yiziyun. The word she spoke previously was directed at Niali. Who would have thought Niali would actually speak up? She coldly snorted, "What is it?" Teacher Shinshio says that Glory City is the only one that survived the age of darkness, that we are the only surviving humans. What proof do you have on this statement? May I ask if teacher ever went out of the Saint Ancestral Mountains and visited the endless desert, the toxic forest, the blood moon marsh, the spirit gulf, the heavenly luster mountains, and the northern snow? Before? Nieli asked. As someone who was reborn, and retained his past experiences, Nieli can completely look down on Shinshio. What heavenly luster mountain? What northern snow? Shinshio frowned. She has heard of the endless desert, toxic forest and blood moon marsh before, but those places were very far away from the Saint Ancestral Mountains. She has only heard of them in legends. Shinshio snorted, I've been in Glory City since birth, and have never been to those places. Nieli smiled faintly and said, since teacher Shinshio never went to those places, how can you be so sure that we are the only human beings alive? 3. Shinshio was at a loss for words. Interest that flashed across her eyes. She curiously looked at Nieli. How did Nieli know of those places? Shinyu, who was sitting beside Yi Ziyun, slightly frowned his brows. He looked towards Nieli, and realized he was quite handsome. Nieli wasn't below him in terms of looks. Unknowingly, he felt a sense of crisis within his heart. 5. Seeing the students below discussing away, Shinshio's face was extremely displeased and scoffed, so what? How can you prove that we are not the last surviving human beings? 2. Proof? Nieli faintly smiled. His experiences from his past life is the proof. Mankind's wisdom is amazing. After experiencing the age of darkness, a lot of humans still survived. They built many monumental cities. But he couldn't say that out loud. Instead, he calmly said, let me tell teacher Shinshio a story. There was once a frog in the depth of the well. Since his birth, he has always been in that well. Since the start, he could only see a part of the sky, so he claimed that the sky is only as big as the hole of the well. But is the sky only the size of the hole? We could only say that the frog is ignorant. 8. Listening to what Nieli just said, the students in the class couldn't help laughing. They felt that what Nieli said makes sense. And the idiom, a frog viewing the sky from the bottom of the well, is indirectly calling teacher Shinshio a frog. 3. Viewing the sky from the bottom of the well, what an appropriate description, a few girls said while giggling away. They all disliked Shinshio and couldn't help looking at Nieli full of admiration, since Nieli was the only one daring enough to openly insult a teacher in class. Shinshio started as she stared at Nieli. She was furious to the point of almost vomiting blood. Nieli actually compared her to an ignorant frog. She has never encountered such a rampant student. 3. Yi Ziyun, who was sitting far away, couldn't control her laughter as well. She realized that Nieli is quite interesting and is rather eloquent with his words. He had actually made teacher Shinshio speechless. Yi Ziyun's a natural beauty. Her smile was fascinating. Nieli winked towards Yi Ziyun and smiled. 2. Seeing Nieli's expression, Yi Ziyun immediately turned her head back, and thought in her heart, such audacity. 2. Nieli's impression in her heart was still a bad student. Watching Nieli not only choke teacher Shinshio, but also tease Yi Ziyun, Lu Piao couldn't help raising a thumb at him, thinking this guy's awesome. 6. Shinshio was about to die from the anger, but she couldn't flare up here. She could only reply in bad mood, "What question do you still have?" Teacher Shinshio said, "A commoner will always remain a commoner, they can never become a noble." "I have a little question. Wasn't the legend rank demon spiritualist, Yemo, a commoner when he was still young?" Nieli asked, blinking his eyes a few times, and looking at Shinshio. "Is Teacher Shin Shio are not aware of this?" 8.